happening, Fourth and Inches podcast listeners? You got Stevie P. Kev is not going to be on tonight. We're going to try to do something tomorrow. Today is Tuesday. Probably going to do something tomorrow, Wednesday or Thursday, possibly. Going to do some trade questions, talk about the Thursday night game. Things like that. Things that we normally do. So I am going to do a quick podcast tonight talking about the waiver wire. It's a lot of the same names from last week, y'all. It's, guys that people still haven't picked up and, are lower owned, I guess, than some of them should be. And some guys should just be where they are, unfortunately. But, we're going to get into some of those guys tonight, talk about the free agent pool and guys that we like at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end this week. And maybe some streamer defenses. We can take a look at some streamer defenses and see what's going on. All right, so for running backs this week, once again, we have Nyheim Hines. We talked about him last week. I don't understand why he's only 47.2% owned, but he needs to be picked up in all leagues. Alfred Morris is 100% needs to be owned in all leagues with Matt Breida going down. There's no question that needs to happen. We got Alfred Blue at 14.9%. Looked way better than Lamar Miller really has this week. He caught some balls, which helped his fantasy day. Had 20 carries for only 49 yards. If you ask me, Donta Foreman is another one that's not on this list, but if he's available in your league, go get him because he's going to take that job this year. Maybe by week 8, week 9, week 10, somewhere around there, and he could be great for a championship run for you. So Donta Foreman is another guy to get on your rosters. We got Latavius Murray at 45.5%. Not sure what's going on with Cook, but, if you need running back, Latavius Murray's out there in 55% of leagues, basically. You got Mike Davis at 14.5%. Looks like he's going to be splitting work with Carson, and those two guys look good last week, so why not? Kyle Juszczyk, if you're really desperate, saw a lot of passes last week. I believe he caught 7 for, or maybe it was 6 for 79 or something like that, but used in the offense and, without Breida being there, he's going to get the usage. Ronald Jones is 18.2% owned. Speculative ad, definitely make sure you get him on your team because if he starts playing very well, he'll be the go-to guy there. Wendell Smallwood is 7.5% and Corey Clement at 28.2%. Both of those guys are because Jay Ajayi got hurt. So, take your pick. For me, if you're asking me, Wendell Smallwood has looked like the better back of the two, but Corey Clement was the guy they went to after Ajayi went down the first time. So right now I think it's a toss-up, either one of those guys. And they're also talking about trade rumors of LaShawn McCoy going back to the Eagles. So if that does happen, these guys become basically irrelevant, if you ask me. Maybe not for the first couple weeks that Shady's there, but when Shady assumes the job, those guys are probably going to be, small amount of touches in the backfield. So we're going to talk about wide receivers. You got Kiki Cutie. You got MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling at 2.2% owned. Cutie is 19.5% owned. You got Josh Reynolds at 0.1. You got Ryan Grant at 23.8, Chester Rogers at 7.5, Robbie Anderson at 42.3, Trent Taylor at 0.3, Christian Kirk at 11.1, Dante Moncrief at 12.8. We're just going down the whole list, guys. The guys that I like. So Jameis Winston is 12.5% owned at quarterback. Baker Mayfield at 38.7% owned. And Cameron Brate at 16.6% owned at the tight end position. Really the only tight end that I see that I'm, think that has a good chance of being a top 10 guy that's available on most waiver wires. For the wide receivers, Marquez Scantling. He looked all right last week, But I do think Geronimo Allison comes back this week. Randall Cobb, is if not this week, next week comes back. So I'm not sure if he's a guy that you're really going to want to pick up. Josh Reynolds, another guy that I'm not really sure if you're going to want to pick up. Ryan Grant, he's getting targeted in that offense, so why not? Chester Rogers is the same thing. Both guys with the Colts, they're getting targeted. So as long as T.Y. is out, I can see you guys picking them up and seeing what happens. Robbie Anderson, just didn't get enough targets last week for me to really feel like I need to go out and spend money on this dude. But, more power to you if you want to take that chance. Trent Taylor at 0.3%. Saw a lot of targets last week, but there was a game that saw 92 offensive plays, so not really a guy that I'm too worried about, but, some people brought him up, so I figured I'd throw him in here. Christian Kirk caught a 75-yard touchdown. Didn't really do much other than that. Had 2 other catches for 10 yards. Not a guy that I really feel like I need. If you want to put him on your bench and see if he becomes something, I'm cool with that. Dante Moncrief. Dante Moncrief has actually been good 3 of the 5 games this year, so if you want to throw him on your bench and use him for bye weeks, and maybe if you have some injuries, a guy that I think you can use. Kiki Cutie is definitely a guy that looks like he's going to be involved in this offense. Will Fuller is still a little banged up, I think, but they've needed a slot guy for a long time, and I think he could fill that role. So in that offense, until, they get a run game established, they're going to be throwing a lot. So Kiki QT could be someone that you could use on a weekly basis. Jameis Winston at 12.5%. Definitely, this week going up against Atlanta at home, I could definitely see Jameis having a big week this week. I am starting him in a couple of leagues. Really like him. He should have been picked up last week, but if he wasn't, get him on your team if he's available. Baker Mayfield, 38.7%, is definitely a guy that looked really good last week against a really tough defense. So I can definitely see him getting some waiver wire love this week and being picked up. I don't know how many teams I'm going to have him on, but definitely deserves some love after last week's game. Cameron Brate at 16.6%. This one is really just because Jameis Winston is going to be the quarterback there. We all have seen him and Cameron Brate's rapport. O.J. Howard's probably going to miss this week and maybe next. So, a guy that is going to be probably heavily targeted this week and next. And, maybe further, maybe will be the best or tight end over in Tampa. So, for me, a guy that I could definitely see being rostered in a lot of leagues. So, now we're going to go to, let's see here. Let's see some defenses, guys. We're going to talk about some defenses. Excuse me. So, some defenses that I like this week that are going to be available. So, the Green Bay Packers are a defense that's 41.3% available. Going up against the 49ers, I like that play. The Dolphins are another defense that I actually like this week, 11.4% going up against the Chicago Bears. It's just a team that, Trubisky is going to have some turnovers. Dolphins are playing at home. They've been pretty good, fantasy defense this year. I believe they're ranked in the top 12. Nope, actually 15th in this scoring system. But definitely a defense I could see getting some love. The Seahawks in Oakland, that one's a little iffy. At least they're not going across country to play them, so I could see them having a pretty good game. Derek Carr seems to give the ball away a little bit. So maybe that's a defense you might want to think about. And really, that's about it with defenses. Defenses are kind of rough this week on the waiver wire, but the Pack would be the defense I'd go for if you guys needed a defense. Other than that, that's about it, guys. So that is it for the podcast today, fellas and ladies. If you guys have any questions, check out the show notes, and we will have some places where you can hit us up on the Fantasy Life app. Is probably the best place to hit us up because we do start-sit questions on there. This Saturday, we'll be doing start-sit questions at 6:30 p.m. Me, Kevin, Joe Moo, There's a couple of guys, Alex and my buddy Dan, and there's going to be maybe like 5 or 6 of us this weekend doing start 6 questions for the podcast. But we hope to hear from you guys. If you have start 6 questions, please come to the website, and if it's a Fantasy Life app, hit us up, ask your questions, and we will answer every single question that's asked, guys. So every single question will be answered within 24 hours of you asking it. So if it's not answered right away, go back and check it in a couple hours, and I guarantee you there will be an answer to your question. All right, guys. Peace out, and let's get it.